Watching myself hurt in a cycle wasn't something I was looking forward to. He saw it. Dropped. Of course, it wasn't that simple for Matthew Grinstead-Mayle. Even the journey to Survivor 44 was long and difficult. He applied for years. He examined the game. He built challenges in his backyard. When Matthew finally showed up on the show, he set out to embrace venture aggressively, perhaps too aggressively. Although Matthew proved himself skilled player by finding new way to use the shot in the dark, finding secret immunity idol, and soon building and placing fake idol that Jaime found, all of this came back when he decided on that day. Climb a dangerous rock on the coast of 2 tribes. When Matthew fell, his luck fell with him. The Ratu contestant did his best to fight the pain, but only 11. After another medical evaluation on day, and with discomfort increasing rather than decreasing, Matthew decided that suffering was too much to bear and left game. Did he get a chance to say goodbye to the Matthew tribe? What happened after you left the game? How is your shoulder now? We asked the 6th of Survivor 44 all this and more, including what happened to the untouchable idol, what we didn't see, and whether he expected a Bruce Perreault-style invitation. Fun Week, the last time we saw on the show, said it was a big decision had to make about whether to continue the game, and then, as we understand, left. When and where was this decision made? Matthew Grinstead-Mayle. This decision was made based on the severity of my injuries. Survivor did a great job of portraying me in a really great light. One thing they didn't really imply was how much I actually suffered. And the extent of my wound was the reason I really had to submit. I had to have shoulder surgery, PT, for months and months. The laundry list of things that need to be handled with my surgery is quite long. So it's the right decision to make, and for me it was unfortunate, but it's the right decision to make. Did you make that decision in the exam after the challenge? They don't show up, but Dr. Will and I were talking, and I couldn't lift my elbow more than shoulder level. I could not move my arm. At that point, I played twice in the game. We didn't know how big my wounds were, but I'd broken my humerus, and a piece of it had been torn off and to be removed. I broke my shoulder bone, my subscapularism, which had to be reconnected, and this had to be reattached. I tore my rotator cuff, tore the lining of my shoulder. Did the pain worsen over 9 days, or did you change it again at some point? Did you just hope you could last a few days and get better, and then it never happened? After the first fall on day 2, I had just removed my shoulder at that point. I was feeling a little loose, but that's why you could see me in and out of your love. I didn't really listen to the doctor's orders. But then, in the 3rd chapter, we blow the sand and say, "Oh boys, my shoulder, you hear what I say." My shoulder jumped out of the nest during the challenge. So I grabbed my arm, put it back into nest in challenge, climbed under wooden log, and then, in middle of all this, I put my arm back into nest, helped Kane complete challenge. Have you had a chance to say goodbye to your family? I had no chance to say goodbye to my tribe. And I was literally sitting on an idol. If I had the opportunity to meet my tribe, that idol would probably have changed hands, because I was really strong ratings. After our first tribe, we connected to each other, and there was a sense of unity in the Kumba. I would love to see one of them to the end. So I would have pushed for one of them. You say that the idol will change hands, but who has it? It was probably Kane's turn. At the time, Kane and I were very close. He was the one I would accept as my number 1. At the time, Brandon and I had formed a very loose alliance during the coconut contest. Laughs, it was the crazy ones who took us all down. However, this alliance was very loose. When we started day by day, she and Lauren were building a very, very strong bond. This led me to play my first tribe and my shot in the dark. All these things came together. But after first tribal council, after the tribe changed a little, I was closer to Kane at time. If I could, I'd give Kane the idol cunningly. What happened after he got on the boat and left the game? Unfortunately, after we left the boat, we were still in Fiji in a Survivor COVID balloon. So when Bruce had to leave the balloon and then return, he had to go through the quarantine process. There was this conversation, should I be trekking all the way to the other side of Fiji to take an X-ray even if they couldn't really do anything for me? They cannot reset anything. They cannot operate. None of this will happen. So conversation was, even though knew there was nothing they could do for me, do I want to wait until get back to the US, see my own doctors and get job done on this side? Or do I want to leave the balloon and come back and then be quarantined? It was really just a conversation about when I wanted to get medical care. Did sleeping and eating better in Ponderosa make you feel a little better? That is for certain. Cuts, scrapes and things like that. The first thing I noticed was the health of my skin. I had big cuts to my feet because I fell. And when I saw my skin start to come back and heal, okay, that was like a good thing. I know that the rest of my inner things I can't see, are being addressed right now. It came to a point where we didn't eat anything. There have been days when we didn't eat anything and tried to recover from an injury, which isn't a good place. They continued to show you the you fell from that rock. What was it like to see it, as I could see that it was quite traumatic to watch it. As actors, we have access to a psychologist. We check it regularly, but if we feel high anxiety or need to talk to a psychologist, we have this ability. I took advantage of it because I'm not the kind of person who watches fail army, people falling or skateboarding falling. It's not something I look for to watch people get hurt. So, watching me get hurt in a cycle wasn't something I was looking forward to. To be honest with you, I have no memory of the real fall. Completely out of my mind. I've seen this 1,000 times, but it's almost as if I was watching someone else because it's completely erased from my memory. How was your husband watching you? He doesn't want to see me hurt. Obviously, he had to sleep with me for 6 weeks after surgery, hanging. He never wanted to see me suffer, but he had to get into the role of caregiver and make sure not only that I wasn't physically well, and that he could help me in this way, but also mentally, because it was a difficult one.